And then also a very important decision today by the US Supreme Court on the abortion drug. And then why Washington state really has ended up at the center of this, not so much receiving national coverage, but really the battle over the safety of medication assisted abortions. Washington is really at the center of this based on new legislation that passed this legislative session to basically say, we've got a bunch of these abortion drugs. If we can't use all of them here in Washington before they expire, maybe we should send them out to other states that need them. So, this is a hugely critical decision here in the state of Washington. And this comes down to two companies that manufacture the abortion pill drug mifepristone. And today they were granted an administrative stay on a lower court ruling from last week that said we want to heavily restrict access to the abortion pill. And what this comes down to is um, folks that push these drugs as a legitimate way for a woman to receive a medication assisted abortion without going to a doctor. She could basically get this um, through the mail, really, without even seeing a doctor and get an abortion, have that abortion done at home. The problem from the side of folks that are opposed is in many cases, this has led to very serious medical consequences for women at a very higher rate of consequences, in some cases, death, infertility and death, in many cases, much higher, they claim, than folks who push these medications have allowed to sort of be in, the public conversation about this. So at a conversation today with, again, Shasti Conrad, I spoke with her earlier from the state Democratic Party about her objections to those that are pushing against the income tax. But I also reached out to her and said, what do you think about this decision about medication assisted abortion here in the state of Washington? And the way things are moving forward with the US Supreme Court and the stay that was issued this morning. So, this is what she had to say. She told me, despite the Supreme Court ruling today, they are still very encouraged that more attention is being paid.
We believe that no one should be between a pregnant person and their doctor, especially politicians or judges. And Washington Democrats in the state legislature secured vital medications in the face of potential federal bans. So we were, preparing for this, and those efforts proved prescient when the three judges in Louisiana tried to rip healthcare options away from millions of American women. And while we are encouraged that the U.S. Supreme Court put a hold on that ruling, ensuring that women can still have access to medication, we know that this conservative Supreme Court has taken healthcare away from women before and could do so again at any moment. And so that's why we're proud of our folks here in Washington State. That Washington remains a bulwark for evidence-based medicine and healthcare accessibility. And I'm always grateful to live in this Washington and not the other Washington.
On the other side of this debate over the abortion pill is Mark Wiltz. He is the director of government affairs at Live Action. And Live Action is an organization that is working unapologetically to abolish abortion. He told me in our conversation today that despite the stay from the US Supreme Court, they're still very encouraged that there's more attention being paid to this. And he believes that people are finally waking up and looking at some of the statistics of some of the harms done, he says, from, folks with just a pill coming in the mail to have an abortion in the privacy of your home. Maybe you didn't realize exactly what else could come of that.
So Friday, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals issued that stay, meaning that we should go back towards the abortion pill having that in-person physician visit to receive the pill. And I got to be honest with you, that stay was a really big win because for the first time in a long time, abortion pills were not shipped by mail through that weekend. Folks did not go to the pharmacy to pick up that abortion medication without seeing a quote unquote provider. So that's a big win in itself. But this morning's Supreme Court's ruling, if you would, opinion from Justice Alito is basically a procedural effort that we've seen from the court previously. And in fact, Justice Alito did the same sort of thing back during the COVID housing rent moratorium ban. He took the same position where he said, let's continue this for this particular amount of time. Let both parties bring that evidence, let them get their ducks in a row, and let the justices have enough time to review the case that's going to be brought before them. And then they essentially ruled in a conservative manner. And I think multiple legal scholars have said before, and we at Live Action and some of our partners have a lot in this fight, and we totally support Attorney General Murrell. She and Ben are just incredible litigators. They're really competent litigators, and we believe that they have a case. Multiple legal scholars have said this. So we believe that this Supreme Court ruling is not this ruling by Alito. It's actually called an administrative stay. We don't believe that administrative stay is a blow to that ruling that happened on Friday. In fact, I believe that there is going to be some movement on this in a conservative manner.
I encourage you to check out our Center Square page today for much more on this with an exclusive article that we're publishing again for our Monday edition.